Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Lionel. I'm your host for LT Productions, and you are watching I Watch You Watch. Today, we are covering Chasing Atlanta. This is Season 7, Episode 3. I do appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video. You can also share it. Subscribe if you are new to this channel. I welcome you, and leave your comments below. Now, let's get into this week's episode. Okay, as promised, I said that I would have episode 3 the next day, and I am here. We start off this episode with Dominique. Dominique has been a powerhouse. You have not seen an episode as of yet, even though this is episode 3, where Dominique is not doing something. He has this event that he is going to be a celebrity coach, or not celebrity coach, a celebrity judge for Met Gala. Basically, they are playing off of Met Gala, but this is for dogs. Dominique brings his dog, Sammy is invited, and Sammy brought his man and also their dog, Seven. Also, Dominique meets up with, I'm assuming that this is an old cast member, and her name is Seven, a trans woman who has moved to Virginia, I believe. I think that she's got some things going on, and that's why she's there in Atlanta. One thing that I can appreciate about this franchise thus far is the visuals. I'm really loving seeing a lot of stuff that's happening down in downtown Atlanta. I mean, help me to fall in love with ATL. I have not really been to ATL ever. I've driven through it, but never really visited it. And kind of just making me want to visit and, have a good time there. All right, so while Dominique is doing his thing as far as a celebrity judging, later on, Sammy, him, and Seven, I did say Sammy, yeah, they meet up and just congregate and talk a little bit just to catch up. Not much was going on there, not so much as more that we had to find out of that conversation. Next up, we have Althea. Althea, she has a concert where it's a tribute concert to Toni Braxton, and she's going to be doing one of her songs, plus Althea's going to be doing a bunch of her independent new work. We have Toni that shows up, Toni Braxton, Tremel, and Sammy. I think that was it, yeah. Althea does Toni Braxton's song. It didn't land. I think that Althea was not remembering some of the words, and I think the band wasn't really, things were clashing. Althea pulled it off a little bit in front of her audience just to make sure that she doesn't mess up too much, but of course others couldn't notice it. But then she quickly goes into her own music, and I feel like she's a lot more stronger with her own music, and I'm okay with that. She's quite passionate with it. She did 2 songs, at least for what we saw on film, and she did her song for Letters to My Son. Remember, she was recording that on last week's episode. Oh, by the way, from what I know, from what I'm hearing from other interviews, is that about 2 to 3 months have passed since they started filming. They're now in June of 2025. They started filming back in April 2025. There's been production shifts and all of that stuff since then. So, she does Letters to My Son, and there's a big reaction out in the crowd. Tremel mentions that he got emotional. Other people got emotional too. I know people are not too keen on Althea's voice and all of that. I don't know. Some people have majors and some people have minors. We know that Althea is a major in modeling. Maybe, perhaps, a minor is in music. Maybe songwriting is her bigger gift. I don't know. I'm not turned off by her voice, and I don't know what people want. She doesn't have a Beyonce voice, and that's fine with me. She has a lot of songs that speak to the soul, and maybe, I don't know, put her in a different mind frame, because I don't know what you're looking for. If you're looking for Brandy, that's not it, and that's fine. Yeah, so I'm okay with her voice. However, I do want to look into more of her music, and I really want to get into at least that song, Letters to My Son, and go from there. After her concert, Toni, Tremel, Sammy, and also Althea, they congratulate Althea, and they talk. Toni brings up Nova, because Toni wants to figure out what all was said. She's heard other people's opinions, but about what Nova said after the ball. Althea gave her point and all that, and it's all just aligning with what everyone else has said. And Toni was like, look, that wasn't true. We even text. I have not talked to her one-on-one in person, but we talked. She texted, and from what I was getting from Toni, Nova was saying that she was making stuff up just to make it noteworthy for the scene. Filming for this show. For real? And she's showing the text. Because right now, at this point, Nova is backtracking when speaking with Toni. The same strength of annoyance that Nova had in front of the rest of the folks, she didn't have it for Toni. And we're going to get to the scene where Toni is talking to her, and it's not the same. Nova, the most I can do at this moment, because I'm trying not to dislike you, is I got to put everything on the table. I got to put everything on the table and see where things go later on in the season. But right now, it ain't looking too hot for you, ma'am. It's not looking too hot. Not how you're acting, because not only are you shading people prematurely as far as with your green screen, but then also you don't have the same energy in front of people's faces as you are on the sideline. So I don't know, behind their backs. Like, keep the same energy. That's all I care about, so that I can respect you. You might be wrong as 2 left feet. However, I can respect you better if you could just stand on what you are supposedly on. All right, so what is the next scene? We have 2 new cast members. Dominique, he's going to be introducing his friend Kendall, D-O-L-L, Kendall. Kendall is an artist, and what I would like to call Kendall is Noelle on a budget, meaning Kendall got some money. I don't want to put down Noelle. It's just like Noelle is not that lower than Kendall, but Kendall seems to have gotten more exposure than what Noelle has right now. Like, you kind of, I believe that Noelle has had more internet success, possibly, and probably some other things, because, you know, Noelle is a rapper, so I don't want to discredit him in that way, but it does look like it's a little bit at a different bracket. Kendall is at a little bit a different bracket, and again, I'm not trying to compete. I'm just kind of putting in the mind frame as to whom I'm dealing with. Nova, Dominique, and did anyone else come? They go to Kendall's house. Immaculate. Immaculate. We get introduced to Kendall and the videos that he has been in, and phenomenal. So I'm interested to see what all is going on with Kendall. Next, we meet up with Tramel. He's introducing us to his friend, K-Star, whom we know. K-Star has been in the business for 10 plus years and just doing his thing, acting. I think he's been in modeling, and also a musical artist, mostly into rapping. They meet up. Tramel catches Carl in on this group that he's with. Basically, they have been missing each other because of the different projects that they're on right now, and with Tramel a part of a different friend group, they've just been kind of not really been in touch with each other that often. So Tramel fills him in on this group and how things have been going. Tramel talks specifically about this guy, Sebastian, the one that had the hot dog business. He was talking about how Sebastian was kind of just now treating him weird. After the whole not having anything outside of beef hot dogs, he's now thinking that Tramel was coming on to him. Because one thing, I guess, Tramel was just complimenting him, and then next thing you know, he puts up his hand. He put a ring on it, basically saying, I'm married, and all that good stuff. And Tramel was like, that's not what all of this is. And Tramel was like, I don't know why you felt the need to show me a ring and let me know that you were engaged. And Sebastian was like, I guess you did need to know. And I'm paraphrasing. I was like, so you gonna get smart like that? Look, Sebastian is very attractive. but I think you got to allow people to show you who they are before jumping to conclusions. And you can't treat the next person the same as the one that's right in front of you, no matter what the last person has done to you. Be on guard. But if you're wanting to make new relationships, I mean, you were a part of a friend group and you just think that people are coming on to you. I mean, Noel didn't even come on to you. I don't think. No, he came on to Sammy. But anyway. But anyways, we do find out a little bit later that Sebastian has left the group. As I said before, there's been a production shift, meaning people have left. Sebastian was supposed to be a part of the cast, and he didn't make it that far, so he's gone. There was talks about Q, I think with, was it then? Oh, when they had went to Kendall's home, Sammy, Nova, and Dominique. Because they were talking about Dominique's upcoming birthday party. They'll be hosting it at Kendall's home, and it's going to be a wigged out party. Everyone's got to come in a wig. Sammy took it upon himself because he wanted to find out what's going on with this cast. Everybody keeps asking about Q. Where's Q? Where's Q? Where's Q? And Sammy decided to be a little bit more friendlier to Sebastian to see what's really going on, because the whole explanation that, oh, he's busy, he's at work, it just doesn't seem feasible, especially when everyone else is here making the sacrifices to tape and all that, So he updates Dom and all of them to say, hey, yeah, Sebastian's not going to be a part of this group anymore, and apparently Q is not going to be either. Again, as I've said in the last couple videos, that I've become attached to Q, even though it's only been one episode. I'm drawn to Q, not attached. Just drawn to him and his presence and his ambition and all of that. Of course, I did say that he's kind of the fish out of water with this group. It may be difficult more for him to mesh with this group, and now that you've been gone for a while, it may get a little bit like, well, they may be a little bit more standoffish, especially at how you are not a communicator. We'll get to Q in just a few moments in regards to that. I'm trying to make sure that I didn't... Oh, let's talk about Tony and Nova when they sit down and have their talk. Tony wants to nip stuff right in the bud and was trying to figure out where Nova's headspace was as to why she thought that she was supposed to be a part of this ball, to walk in the ball. Nova said, well, you kind of just left me on red after we talked about my interest in being in the ball. At this point, Nova acknowledges that Tony never said anything about that. Tony apologizes for if she felt like Tony had dropped the ball as far as teaching her about the ball scene and all of that. Because I'm like, there's no way that you would have thought that you were supposed to walk in this arena, because next you started explaining how some of the performers was performing and you thought somebody was trying to diss you right to their faces. Now, I'm learning along with Nova, even in the scene, as to what's going on at the ball. Nova saying that she was thinking that this dude was dissing her by spanking his ass cheeks, and as a form of saying, kiss my ass. And Tony was like, no, absolutely not. That's not what was going on. I can 100% guarantee that that's not what was it. A lot of performers, because Tony just asked, what was the person doing? Were they voguing and all that? And Nova said, yeah, the Vogue part of the whole ball thing, they're just performing. Nothing is directed towards anyone. They're performing to be judged and to possibly win, so definitely not. So again, Nova, you're not ready. And if you want to say that that's Tony's fault, I guess. The issue was minor, and I think that you blew it up. The cast blew it up, but basically because of your energy. And again, you still didn't have the same energy as you did with your cast members, as you do with Tony, now speaking and whatnot. I'm trying to make sure that there isn't any other scene before I get on to the main event. Is there? Was there? No other events, right? Okay. All right, so on to the birthday wigged out party. This is for Dominique, again at Kendall's home. Mostly everyone shows up in their wigs, besides Althea. Now Althea is telling Sammy and Althea came together. Althea saying to him that her head's too small and she couldn't get a wig to fit. When she gets inside, or no, in the green screen, beautiful confessional. I love the outfit that you have on. I love the look, Althea. She says that she ran out of time, which was something different than what she told Sammy. Now Sammy's got on this, is it like violet, purple type wig? He said that, you know, coming since he's from Florida and all that, he putting on a wig makes him look like he's a city girl. I can agree. But it was cool because he was always had to get the hair because he had a bang that hung low but still in his face a lot. But anyways, it looked good. Noelle came in a pink wig, possibly an ode to Nicki Minaj. Tony and Nova, that came in. Nova, I absolutely love that orange fire wig you had on. Chef Pablo from Chasing Orlando, shout out to Chef. He is the caterer for this event, and he made so much good stuff. I can't eat like I used to eat. Macaroni and cheese is my favorite dish in the whole wide world. However, I can't eat it no more. But he's got two different type of macaroni and cheese dishes. One that's got shellfish in it, and another one just more of the plain. And I said that would have been for me. But shout out to Chef. Who else came in? Who else? Okay, now Tramel and Carl come. Tramel brought a +1, but he wasn't supposed to bring a +1. However, Carl is on the cast now, so technically you're not a +1. However, we have to keep in mind as to the bad history between Dominique and Carl. That's the one they talked about, creepy Carl, as far as what Dominique was saying on last week, I think it was. Yeah. So both, to me, Tramel and Carl look like aunties. Now Carl called his wig a shake and go wig, but he did like the color that he had on, the red and all that good stuff. Tramel chose a blonde one. I think, did someone say in the comments, like looking like Babs? CEO. $10,000. Where he at? Now who else? Kendall, I can't say a bust down, right? Looks, if Beyonce would go back to dark hair, that's basically what Kendall looked. Amazing. Everyone has arrived, and everyone's just meeting downstairs. Carl is being reacquainted with Althea. He already knows her, and Carl also knows Tony, and they talk. Meanwhile, Tony talks with Sammy and some other people that are around. Now Nova's got all this stuff to say in her confessionals about Sebastian and allegedly Q leaving, and basically good riddance. Y'all weren't talking down about the businesses. But anyways, like, okay, good riddance. If you don't want to be here, you ain't got to be here. Tony says that she got a message from Q, and she was shocked because there hasn't been any type of personal exchange. There hasn't been a lot of there hasn't been much exchange within the group anyways. Tony thought that maybe there would have been a message within the group, but since you and Dominique are co-anchors of the season, I can see why Q contacted you. However, Dominique, I won't say hasn't been feeling the way. He's been wanting to know why Q hasn't added him to social media. As in the last episode, in this episode, Dominique does bring that up. I don't know what's going on there, but I guess we're going to find out in regards to that, because he doesn't know that there's any type of personal beef between them, and he definitely doesn't have any beef with Q. And speaking of Q, first, Dominique does his entrance, and he's got the biggest hair, blonde hair that there is. He comes downstairs, does his little greet, acknowledges his guests. Now, how many people actually brought Dominique a gift? Nova said that she did. I just didn't see anything in anyone's hand. I did see something in Q's hand, which I was supposed to wait to announce, but we'll get to that in just one second. Carl did say that he was going to bring a gift. So, but I just didn't see anything in anyone's hands. And we know one thing about being, of having etiquette. One thing we do know about etiquette when you're invited to someone's home, you don't come empty-handed. Now, I'm not saying that no one didn't bring anything. I just didn't see anything in anyone's hands. But maybe that they were just supposed to do their entryway. And I don't think that anyone's inconsiderate. It's just I didn't see it. So, anyways, next up, we get Q. Q has shown back up. And he says, I'm back. And he comes in the door and greeted by Ken Doll and comes back in. And everyone's kind of like, hey. But that was the end of the episode and the preview. Things start getting, let's just say, the notch on the stove has been turned up all the way up, and we start getting to some real things. And it looks like this is going to be the beginning of whatever happened between Nova and Althea, as to why Nova says some of the things that she says about Althea now. But anyways, I enjoyed this episode, 3 out of 3. Well, for me, I'm enjoying because I have not been watching Chasing Atlanta since its inception. This is my first season, and then I'm getting to know new people along with you guys, and I'm excited and I'm really loving this season. But y'all can tell me in the comments what y'all think about this season. Is there anyone of your faves? Is there anyone you're like, I could take them or leave them? Is there anyone that you just want to say bye? Let me know. I appreciate everyone for coming. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. And until the next one, peace.